More breaking news for you this afternoon. Kilmar Abrego Garcia, the Maryland man who has fought for his freedom ever since being wrongfully deported to El Salvador earlier this year, was freed from a jail in Tennessee this afternoon. Abrego Garcia was returned to the U.S., but then taken into custody on federal human trafficking charges back in June. Now, despite being released today, he could end up back in immigration custody. Joining us now to help us understand where all of this started is CBS News immigration and politics reporter Camilo Montoya-Galvez. So just to level set, remind people of how we got here and what are we expecting next?
Sure. Well, Kilmar Abrego Garcia has really been at the center of the administration's crackdown on illegal immigration and the debate around that across the country. He was deported to El Salvador back in March alongside a group of Venezuelan men who were sent there under the Alien Enemies Act. And the administration...
Very tough prison.
Correct,
yeah.
to CCOT, which is a maximum security prison in El Salvador, which houses some of those countries' worst gang members. And the administration said at the time that it had made a legal mistake in deporting this man to El Salvador, his native country, because a federal immigration judge back in 2019, Jurica, actually said that the government was prohibited from deporting him to El Salvador due to concerns that he could be persecuted by gangs there. And he was sent to a prison where many of these gang members are detained. He alleges that he was beaten and physically assaulted at this facility. He was then transferred to another lower level security prison in El Salvador and was brought back to the U.S. in June, but only to face smuggling charges. The Justice Department is alleging that before his deportation, Kilmar Abrego Garcia was transporting undocumented immigrants who had crossed into the U.S. illegally from Texas to Maryland, and that he was an alleged human smuggler. He continues to face those charges, but a federal judge has now allowed him to continue that trial, which is set to start next year, outside of detention. So he has a couple of months before that trial starts.
But he's still facing, I was going to say, being detained by immigration officials.
That is the million-dollar question, because technically, Kilmar Abrego Garcia, because he entered the country illegally, is still subject to deportation. He has a pending removal order, which means that the government can arrest him and process him for deportation. But they have to try to terminate that 2019 order to try to deport him back to El Salvador. Otherwise, they could very well try to deport him to a third country, meaning another country around the world that is not El Salvador that agrees to take him back.
So if he is taken into custody again, though, what could happen next in terms of this process? And also talk to us about his family, because I know you spoke to his wife, Jennifer, a few months ago.
Yes. So if Abrego Garcia is indeed detained by ICE, which is likely in Maryland once he gets there, there are several options that could ensue. He could be processed for deportation immediately to a third country. That is legally permissible under U.S. immigration law because he does have a deportation order. Or the administration could try to end the 2019 order from that judge that barred his deportation to El Salvador to send him there. The other option is just to keep him in custody indefinitely for the time being until that criminal trial starts in January, and then send them back potentially to criminal custody if he is indeed found guilty.
But as you mentioned before, this became more of a symbol of someone who should not have been in El Salvador.
Yeah, it became the subject of controversy because of the question of due process. The government did not have the legal authority to send them back to El Salvador, and yet it did so. And it admitted that mistake, but it has still said in the court of public opinion that this man should not be in the U.S. because of domestic violence allegations and now because of this criminal charge of human smuggling.
A lot to keep up, but you are on the case, and we so appreciate you putting it into context. Camilo Montoya-Galvez, thank you.
Of course.